Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event of the evening. Introducing first, from Damsar Uptown, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, weigh in at 2 Raw on Netflix episodes. He is your fellow Uptown lowlife, Cornelius.
Thank you. 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 Why does my why is it that my subscriber count never wants to refresh itself properly? It's actually updated a little bit actually via the power of I believe me being a bit more consistent with YouTube Shorts. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but over the past few days, I've been releasing YouTube Shorts semi-consistently, or not to say on a daily basis. I don't think I can keep it up, every single day, but at least within a week, a few. No promises, but I'm trying. And that's all I can say. And I think it's paying off. It's paying off. It's hilarious what gets successful and what really gets viral and what doesn't, what gets the views and what does not, like I cannot emphasize enough how utterly bizarre it is that my most viewed video ever, I don't think I can ever reach those heights ever again, is on Instagram, where it's in six digits. 6 digits. But that very same video, nothing changed about it. On YouTube, barely 100. It's just utterly bizarre. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself, folks. My name is Cornelius, professional wrestler turned Butler, VTuber, at your service. Okay, let me just do a little bit of this. Reset this. There we go. Lovely. Much better looking. Okay. Cannot believe I actually know how to fix that. I think it's fixed. I would hope so. But yes, folks. Today we will be talking about all things wrestling. After all, I am an IRL professional wrestler turned Butler VTuber. So I'm here to be of service to you all. As someone that you can talk to about all things professional wrestling. Been doing this for, at this point, it really has been 7 years now. Not only have I been wrestling around the Southeast Asian region a good little bit, I've also been, not to say a historian, but I try to keep up with the times. I try to look to the past as well, and perhaps even see, research a little bit on the glimpses of the future of professional wrestling as well. And we are in exciting times right now, folks. We are in exciting times. For tonight, unless if anyone has any questions, unless if anyone wants to bring up any particular topics, I will be focusing on the first 2 episodes of Raw on Netflix. So to those who aren't aware, WWE Raw, which I believe, actually, let me fact check this right now. I believe WWE Raw, aka Monday Night Raw, is the longest running continuous television show ever. Let's see. Let me just check this out. Is WWE Raw the longest running TV show? Possibly so. I mean, it began in 1993. So yeah, that's a good long while indeed. And for the first time ever, instead of being on television, it's on Netflix. And they make themselves known big time 2 weeks ago. Last week. Apologies. Was it last week? No, it was indeed last week. So that was, oh man, that was incredible. That was incredible indeed. Really, a lot of interesting things happened there for sure. So, aren't we living in crazy times? They say the revolution is televised, but Raw went to streaming. WWE, the world's biggest wrestling promotion, and proudly touting itself as such as well, is on streaming services, and the biggest one of them all, Netflix. And I gotta say, that first episode is fascinating. Really, really fascinating. If I were to describe how it all was, it basically felt like the whole presentation and packaging felt like another WrestleMania, but the wrestling itself was very much Monday Night Raw. What do I mean by that? I mean that overall the matches, especially the first episode, things were simpler. Things was a lot more clear cut, you know. So when I say that they presented simpler matches, that does not mean they're like lousier matches or they're slower matches. Nothing like that. It's just that it's stuff that is nothing too complex, you know. No insanely technical sequences, no nothing that was too hardcore. But was it proper wrestling? Absolutely. Let's actually start with something kind of interesting, actually. Let's start with something that is a bit innocuous, but it really shows that this is a huge change at the times. I mean, WrestleMania 40, which you guys have heard me talk about so much about how it's really changed the face of wrestling. Raw on Netflix is the next big stage for sure, and Raw on Netflix's ring canvas is a huge part of that, because for the first time in a long time, there's advertising on the canvas. I can't recall the other time there was advertising on the canvas. Like, that's actually a very common thing when it comes to a lot of ring sports, be it boxing, Muay Thai, MMA. There's advertising everywhere. You know, the show has got to be funded somehow, and a common place for you to put your logos on is the canvas, the mats. And for the longest of time, WWE avoided that. You know, they like my understanding is that they like to keep the mat clean so that you can see the presentation of the wrestlers as clearly as it is. Well, not anymore. That mat was properly filled up with all sorts of stuff. Previously, it was just like, you know, it was one logo which on the center of the ring, which was the Prime bottle, you know, the energy drink stuff. And this is the one that actually caught me off guard. At the very center of the ring, it was advertised Fortnite. Fortnite, of all things. Like, how big is Fortnite that they can advertise in WWE? How? I mean, like, is Fortnite so strong that it still has an extremely gigantic loyal fan base to this day? I don't know. I think it's because I'm a little bit of a dinosaur, and frankly speaking, yeah, I am one of those streamers that if I remotely even learn that this particular game is very much catered to kids, I kind of do avoid it a little bit. So, you know, Fortnite, Roblox, those are the two in particular that I kind of avoid, almost like a kindergarten plague. Just because I want to avoid, just because, like, you know, it's like these are the games for kids, and more importantly, like, just don't want to deal with children, you know. It gets weird. It gets weird. I remember this one time, a bunch of us were playtesting Goose Goose Duck, you know, that Among Us style game. No, I say Among Us, but it's actually more of a like a werewolf style game. So it's like a nice alternative to Among Us. Yeah, we turned on voice chat once for that. And never again. Because at least where I am, I heard non-stop squealings of very, very young Australian children. Like, oh God, just so many squeakers. So many squeakers. Like, I could not believe. It was so annoying. Like, my ears, the children. It felt like the children were becoming my worst enemies with all this squeaking and squealing and like just over talking. Like, oh God, I'm glad I'm single. But hey, Fortnite got that money. Fortnite got that Fortnite money. Look, they can do whatever the hell they want. And what they did was advertise on Dubba Dubba. Wild. Well, that was the first thing. So it's just utterly insane. Oh, and WWE actually did something very interesting, actually. In some ways, their main event was the first match. Which is not too unheard of a little strategy, but it was pretty interesting to see that. That's for sure. So what was the main event, so to speak? It was Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa in tribal combat for the Ula Fala. Besides the WWE Championship, in some ways, the Ula Fala is the second, arguably the second most coveted quote-unquote title, so to speak, in WWE. Like, you hold this, you the tribal chief, you represent the Samoans, you know, that sort of a thing. So that was pretty neat, indeed. Oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, before we get even into the first match itself, I have to talk about the monologue. Okay, actually, can I pull it out? Let's see. Okay. I think I got it. Okay. So here's the thing. When I talked about the monologue. So the very opening of the show, it was Triple H, aka Paul Levesque, essentially talking a little bit about WWE's transition from television to streaming, right? And he said some stuff. Part of his little monologue thing, actually, in some ways, exposes the business. You know, like he mentioned terms like face, heel, you know, shoot, and all that jazz. Do you realize how insane that is to hear all that? That is essentially exposing the business, in a way. Now, hi there, Nomu. Welcome. To Cafe Cornelius. How are you doing? Do you need a glass of anything? Talking a little bit about Raw on Netflix. No chance you caught it. So, that opening was super interesting because, you know, he was talking about So essentially, it was like sort of having a little bit of a summary about how the business was actually, how the business is, and how it still is. It's still about the faces. It's still about the heels. How things can have blurred lines. Water bigger. Okay. Right. Let's see now. Let's see. Where is it? All right. Here's a bottle of water for Nomu. Jeez, what was it? There we go. A bottle of water for Nomu. May your thirst be quenched and may your muscles ripple with passion. Okay, so and when he was asked why he was so open about these previously very, very insider terms, I cannot emphasize enough that if you were to even like say these things to like a wrestler and stuff, we would just outright deny it, or we will walk away. It was that kind of attitude because it was a very secretive business just a couple of decades ago. Like we would not openly talk about this sort of thing at all, right? It was insane how close it was. How insanely closed up it was, but he just came out and said it on the first episode of Raw on Netflix. It almost feels like I'm not saying Monday Night Raw anymore. I'm calling it Raw on Netflix instead. Jeez, that might actually be his new nickname, so to speak. Instead of Monday Night Raw, it's Raw on Netflix. It's not a bad little tagline, practically speaking. I think. Do you guys have any thoughts about that? Actually, do you guys have any thoughts about that? Triple H's explanation of it was that they're not hiding this anymore. That we are open with what we do, in that this is a show, it's an art form, it's entertainment. Oh yeah, I did see the wrestling thing on Netflix. What did you thought of it? I mean, for me personally, it's one of the biggest things that happen in my wrestling industry. To be on the largest streaming service in the world and to garner the huge amount of views it had, so it was an overwhelming success for certain. So put it this way, especially for the first episode, things were definitely a bit blurred here and there within the show. A great example of this is High Chief Sayuli, aka Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and who came out when you first hear his entrance music. Everyone obviously went insane for it, but from what I can see, it seemed that it was not The Rock, the final boss, that came out, but the man behind the final boss persona, Dwayne Johnson. Hyping up the crowd, talking with them, thanking them, essentially, that sort of a thing. So at least for the first episode, things were a lot more, a bit blurred here and there. There will always be some blurring of whether, is this scripted or is this like what we actually feel, where that kind of a thing. And for the most part, of course, things were still scripted. The show, went on as usual. That kind of a thing. That kind of a thing. What was it? Let's see. So, I actually am kind of curious. I gotta say, like, I wonder how many old wrestling vets. So I am referring a little bit more to like a veteran indie wrestlers, people who have been doing this for a long time, but have been on the independent level, maybe even smaller large scale wrestling promotions. So things like Ring of Honor, Melbourne City Wrestling, New Japan even. I actually am curious as to what they thought of what Triple H said, you know? Because for the longest of time, you guys might have heard me say this about WWE. WWE is the last carny promotion in the world. And here they are saying that, at least in the opening monologue, no, we're storytellers. We got villains, we got heroes. We blur the lines. Do you realize how insane that is to hear that? So why it used to have this moniker about it, that it was the last carny promotion, was because there was certain old school wrestling heads, leaders of the industry, that were very, very set in their ways. Obviously, I'm referring to a certain person that I'd rather not talk about. And yes, he was very, very set in his ways and doing things in a very, 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 very certain way. And it did involve a lot of like old school practices, you know, that sort of either became out of fashion or just outright despised over the decades, where the newer generation just feels like, oh, this is so old hat. This is like not healthy for the industry. That sort of a thing. So for the WWE to say, we're a show. It's a show, folks. It's a show. Enjoy the ride, is such a huge declaration of change that I kind of am curious as to what you know, some of the old school guys think. Well, I say that, but I'm kind of also scared to also hear what they think, because you know, just like any other industry that has a lot of like veterans in it, sometimes they're not open to change. Sometimes they're set in their ways and not in a healthy way. Me personally, I loved it. I loved it. It was a nice way. Triple H's monologue in the opening really set the tone that this is that we are truly in a new era of professional wrestling, where we are show business first, and we don't mind admitting it as such, you know, where we accept the fact that you guys, the audience, we will treat you guys with respect. We're not gonna like because there was always a little bit of an issue in this, where, you know, how do I say, we try to we almost try to like where even though it was obvious that this is a show, we keep denying it and denying it and denying it, and that was been the way for decades and decades and decades, to the point where, you know, the pro wrestlers have to live very secretive lives, where a lot of things, where a lot of relationships can be torn, where sometimes we wrestlers take ourselves far too seriously, and yes, there has been and as a result, there has been a lot of egos being flown about, and not in a healthy way. Saying that we're saying that we're showmans. It really shows that we're willing to change it up. You know, that the leaders of the industry now says we're changing things up. So interesting times indeed. Interesting times indeed. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the very, very first match. Roman Reigns versus Sikoa in tribal combat rules, aka hardcore rules. I like the match. I think some people might have an issue with it because, yes, in some ways it was a little on the simpler side, actually. A little on the simpler side, especially for a hardcore match. But don't get me wrong, it was still hard hitting. You know, they were still kicking each other, suplexing each other. There were tables, there were chairs, but everything was kept simpler. Why? Because for the first time in a long time, this is an opportunity for WWE to garner a completely new audience You know, first time on Netflix. Obviously, a lot of new people who have never, ever seen wrestling before. They want to check it out. They want to see what's it all about. So things were kept simpler, but that doesn't mean that the wrestling wasn't hard-hitting. It was hard-hitting. Okay? Like, literally, one of the first things that they did was when they locked up. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa locked up. Roman threw Solo Sikoa out of the ring. You know, that's pretty darn physical as far as I'm concerned. But just because of matches, so it's a little bit of a thing these days where where a lot of wrestling fans expect that things has to be super complicated, has to be super technical and extreme, and that's a little risky to have that sort of expectation. In fact, speaking, even on an independent level, but WWE deliberately want to keep the wrestling, what I like to call the wrestling language, much simpler, so it's easier for for new audiences to follow. I've always had the opinion that that pro wrestling by design should be very easy for people to pick up and understand, as opposed to, let's say for instance, boxing or MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When you watch these actual real combat sports, unless if you've actually studied a little bit or you read through the rules pretty extensively, you can only really appreciate it on a surface level. Maybe you can pick things up a little bit more from the commentators who are, a bit more educated in the game. But you might not completely understand why certain moves aren't allowed. Why when they move they move out of bounds, they have to come back into the center of the ring. Why can't boxers use elbows? That kind of a thing. That kind of a thing, indeed. Where there's so many rules, and not to mention, because it's actual live combat, things move fast. Things move with a point of gaining victory as opposed to putting on a good show. So as a result, it's just like if you ever watch like professional boxing match before, they move at a breakneck pace. They punch so unbelievably fast. They are weaving so incredibly quickly. Their footwork so sharp and precise. Unless if you've actually studied the sweet science before, you will have no idea how to follow with it. Whereas with wrestling, we deliberately slow things down. We deliberately show you where it hurts. We deliberately make it obvious what we're doing. Because it's scripted entertainment. It's scripted combat. Simulated fight. So we make it obvious for you. Hence why I say wrestling language. There is a bit of a language. It is a little bit of a language in how we express ourselves, do what we do within the square circle. And so I think that Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa did a bang-up job to set the tone for this. And also, so hats off to them. So also, one thing that's very unique about this very first episode is that celebrities, so many celebrities. In fact, so there was a lot of, I suppose, celebrity endorsements, so to speak, which WWE takes advantage of, because a lot of like big time actors and singers, they love the WWE, man. Like, it's a little bit of an open secret that, Your Honor, I have a confession. Confess away. Do it. I am all ears. Ichiman-san, Mr. Ichiman. Oh, so yes. Why, hello there. Is this your first time here, Mr. Ichiman? I don't believe. Have I ever spoken before, Mr. Ichiman? So whilst you type away, I'll just keep on going. Actually, no, not my first time. Ooh, okay. When was the? Do you remember the last stream that you saw me? Do you remember the last stream you saw me? I don't believe I've seen you too often, but appreciate you dropping on by. I think I came here before, just looked and went under different name. Perfectly fine, protect your privacy and all that jazz. Old HSR stream. Ah, those were the days. Those days are over. In any case. What was I saying? Oh yeah, celebrities in the WWE Raw on Netflix. Oh, so many. Like I felt like there was more than in WrestleMania 40. Felt like there was more. So there was quite a few indeed, and so many. Okay, here's the thing with when it comes to entertainers and the WWE. Low key entertainers, whether it's singers, whether it's comedians, whether it's actors, they love pro wrestling. They love pro wrestling. But yes, I think Penta El Cerro Miedo is my favorite waifu. Penta El Cerro Miedo. Oh, that guy from AEW. Yeah, I hope he's doing well. But there is a certain Penta that made his debut on Raw on Netflix episode 2. I will talk about him when we get to episode 2. We're focusing now a little bit on Raw on Netflix episode 1 because it is after all the landmark episode. Well, why do you like Penta actually? Why is he your favorite waifu? Oh my. Now that I think about it, Penta does have like the signature colors of a maid. Yeah. Oh gods, I'm imagining Penta as a maid. Oh no. Oh gods. My imagination is running wild in my head. I actually was lucky to learn a little bit of him before Dubba Dubba, thanks to Denise Salcedo. Am I saying her name right? Salcedo? Either way, I am aware of who Denise is. She is a quite prominent independent wrestling interviewer, if I'm not wrong. So she's interviewed pretty darn big number of professional wrestlers indeed. And also, I came across his matches against the Black Lotus and Lotus Underground under the alias Pentagon Dark. Yes. That's how I learned about him as well, via Lucha Underground, actually. Via Lucha Underground, where he first went by Pentagon Jr., actually. In fact, he was Pentagon Jr. before he entered Lucha Underground. Because he was actually, I don't know if you're aware of this, but, so Pentagon Jr., so in Lucha Libre, was it AAA or CMLL? I forgot which one. There's a very famous luchador who goes by Octagon, and he has a nemesis named Pentagon. And in Lucha Libre, they love to have their junior, their sons off. So El Hijo del Mil Máscaras, for example. There is an Octagon Jr. and a Pentagon Jr. And Pentagon Jr. Joined Lucha Underground. And people low-key loved his look, loved his charisma, actually. And it got to a point where he was involved in a pretty big storyline in Lucha Underground. I used to follow Lucha Underground big time, right? It was a big inspiration for me. Guys. It's a little bit on the nose. It's a little bit on the nose. Just saying. He wasn't the sole inspiration, but there's a reason why I keep the mask pretty simple. So yes. From Pentagon. So he has a journey indeed. From Pentagon Jr. to Pentagon Dark, to El Cerro Miedo, to now just Penta. Penta looks so sick it's underlined. Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess we'll talk about Penta now. This is something that that has been said, that he himself has said actually in an interview with his brother, Ray Phoenix, the Lucha Brothers, so to speak. It basically goes something along the lines of, oh, my brother is a high flyer and I am a showman. So Ray Phoenix, his brother, is legit one of the greatest high flyers like ever. The stuff that he does is just insane, just absolutely insane. Whereas Penta, he does high fly a good bit as well. Sorry if I accidentally made my Pentagon screen when it's supposed to be Raw Netflix part 1. That's fine. This is meant to be a back and forth. This is meant to be a back and forth. Indeed, so it's perfectly fine. You want to talk about Penta? We talk about Penta. Don't worry. Oh yeah. Oh, I've yet to check out more of Ray Phoenix. I'm very interested. Oh, you should. A lot of Penta's and Ray Phoenix's matches, they are available online on YouTube. A certain Defiant Wrestling / What Culture Pro Wrestling come to mind. So if you were to type in Ray Phoenix versus or Penta versus, you will find a surprising number of full matches, and you can see what they do. And a lot of it is surprisingly in Defiant Wrestling, aka What Culture Pro Wrestling. Very important independent promotion that has sadly gone defunct. I will always give a lot of credit to What Culture for sort of reviving, breathing new life into independent wrestling. So, anyways, so part of what makes Penta's work is not only does he have like some of the best gear in the game, where he's basically got this, like, to those who aren't aware, Penta basically has this like evil ninja gimmick, you know. He kind of looks like an evil ninja essentially, and he paints his face he paints his face like a skull. His mask looks very like ninja like, and he's like a loud, arrogant, evil ninja type. And man, the swagger on that son of a bitch, like no other. The way he saunters down the ring, yells out "Cerro Miedo." I just realized. Oh, I've forgotten how. Guys, you've seen that photo. You've seen me like do my signature pose before, right? My signature gesture. He reminds me a little of Ryu Hayabusa gone full deep. Yes. Ninja Gaiden. Yes, Ninja Gaiden. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit inspired by that. Actually, I'm not even sure if he's a gamer. But do you guys know what I'm talking about? Actually, wait. Maybe I'll pull out a photo. I'll pull out a photo for you guys' convenience. Let's see, I should have a good one here. No, not this one. Is maybe here. No. Wait, I gotta see the post. Wait, let me get to you too. So as Mr. Ichiman here is aware of, Penta has this signature pose where he goes "Cerro Miedo," aka Zero Fear. That has been his tagline for years, and he always does it. You know, he always does it. Oh, I can. It's somewhere here. Just give me a moment. I can find it. Let's see. God, I'm going to take an older photo. But when you see it, you'll know why I'm talking at length about this. So man, Cerro Miedo, Zero Fear. So that has been his thing since practically the Pentagon Junior days. Actually, when he does the Cerro Miedo post, even if I only seen it a few times, I could feel like the years. Oh, indeed. He's sort of been perfecting that for a long time. So there's a reason why why he called himself a showman as opposed to a high flyer like his brother. Like he is in some ways like it actually makes a lot of sense why Penta ended up in WWE, because WWE is all about the showbiz, the pizzazz, and Penta has always been about that first, you know. So he can do some absolutely insane high flying stuff as well. Right up there with the top tier luchadors, but his charisma is out of this world. Even his promos is so good, especially for luchador. And they're not really that well known for talking, but Penta is one of the exceptions for that. Well, apologies, folks. I need to go for grab it from an older place. Okay, this is a decent one. Okay, let me just drag this here. Dude, I didn't understand why he was talking in the promo. I felt his emotions so much. Indeed. Well, actually, when he was in episode 2 when Penta debuted, he cut his post-match promo. Actually, there were subtitles. So I wasn't watching it live. I watched it in a VOD on Netflix, of course, and there was so there were subtitles when he was speaking in Spanish, actually. So that was very convenient for me to understand what he was talking about. Okay, so here it is. So I don't know if this is clear enough for you. I watched it on YouTube. Yeah. That too. WWE is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but WWE has one of the largest YouTube channels of all time. It's enormous. Is that blood in your hands? No, that's not blood. That's lighting. It's the lighting. It's the lighting. What I'm trying to point at is, hold on, let me pull out my writing crop. So you see my hand there? Yes, it's lighting. What? This is before the match has even begun. Why would there be blood on it? You know, I'm not that great. I'm not that kind of a wrestler. Come on now. Okay. Okay. Oopsie. 1 second. Went a little bit too backwards. Okay. So, you see my hand? Penta. Cornelius. Well, it's been years since I've compared myself to Pentagon Junior. But yeah, we're not at all the same sort of people. But have I taken certain cues from Penta? Absolutely, baby. I'll put this away now. Okay, where was I? Where are my notes? Oh yes, celebrities. So as I've low-key mentioned, a lot of entertainers low-key love professional wrestling, but they might not admit it openly. Well, in the past, at least. But these days, however, jeez, it's a smorgasbord. Absolute smorgasbord of big-time entertainers, celebrities that love the dubba. So you got people like Gabriel Iglesias, aka Fluffy. Vanessa Hudgens is very, very open with how much she enjoys this. A lot of singers. The big and the biggest pop of the entire night for episode 1 of Raw on Netflix was Mr. Home Alone himself, Macaulay Culkin. Like when the camera panned to the left to him, oh, he came out in style. He had his hat down, he lifted it up, gave a cheeky smile to the camera. Like he knew exactly how to mean mug, how to pose for the WWE faithful, and the crowd went ballistic, insane for Macaulay Culkin. For Macaulay, the man is almost a one-hit wonder. When it comes to acting, and he's still got a huge reception in WWE. That's hilarious. Yeah, Fluffy. That man has appeared in. This is not his first time appearing in WWE. I believe he's done this at least a couple times before. Like that's how much he loved this. And then of course another one that was very prominent is O'Shea Jackson Jr., aka the son of was it Ice Cube? Yeah, it's El Hijo del Ice Cube. Yeah. So basically, O'Shea Jackson Jr. played his father in the Ice Cube biopic movie, essentially. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I feel happy where he is right now. You're referring to Fluffy or Macaulay? Because both are doing pretty well for themselves, from what I can see. Yeah. So this is very much a WrestleMania thing where celebrities get involved. They get to hobnob a little bit with celebrities. No, so that was really, really interesting. So let's see. Anything else in particular about episode 1 that I thought was interesting? Oh, okay. So, okay. So this is Culkin. Yeah. He seems to be like doing pretty well for himself, and he's a much happier place. So good for him. He gets to appear in Raw on Netflix for Pete's sakes. So I did something that I've never, ever done before when it comes to watching WWE. And it was very easy for me to do this with Netflix. I watched WWE in Indonesian. I watched WWE in... I suppose saying Indonesian dub is not entirely correct because it was broadcasted live, right? So there was there were many languages there. There was let's see if I can list them out. There was Indonesian, Japanese, Mandarin, Filipino. I think there was Tamil as well, and several more. I focus primarily on Indonesian, probably because that's the other language that I understand the best, bizarrely enough. And no, it's not Mandarin. My Mandarin is god awful. I understand because I understand Bahasa Malaysia, aka Bahasa Melayu. Therefore, I can understand Bahasa Indonesia to a certain extent, not completely. So it was fascinating to see this being broadcasted live in Indonesian. Because low key, Indonesia's got a big wrestling audience. They're the 5th largest, most populated nation on planet Earth. So yeah, it's a given that they will have broadcast commentators in Indonesian. So that's wild. That is wild to see. So overall, what I can say is the Indonesians commentators, I'm not very familiar with them. They do get into the spirit of things. They do get very excited and stuff. But they're definitely not as familiar with the product as say the English commentators, of course, which is Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, and in Filipino. Man, I just found out Raw on Netflix isn't available in the Philippines. A bit of a shame. And yet, there was also commentary in Tagalog. That's the funniest part. That is the funniest part, isn't it? And I actually kind of know why. Why do I know the reason why? Because I know one of the commentators. I've met the man before. His name is Stan C. If you were to search up Stan C, he is actually involved with Filipino independent pro wrestling. I believe he's currently like a on-screen manager in Puso Wrestling, if I'm not wrong. But Raw on Netflix is not available in the Philippines. It's available in some other way. I believe it's still on satellite TV, if I'm not wrong. I don't. So it's one of the strange exceptions. Not every country has Raw on Netflix, and unfortunately, Philippines is one of the exceptions, which is kind of strange because I know you guys love the pro wrestling. There's literally 3 different independent wrestling promotions in Philippines right now. Only thing I do know about Filipino wrestling is Jake De Leon versus Zack Sabre. If you have not checked out that match, if you have not bought that VOD to check it out, you are doing a disservice to yourself, Mr. Ichiban. Go to Helix Pay. I believe it's in DexCon. Watch it. Please watch it. Jake De Leon is a homegrown Filipino, and he is as good as it gets. That match was sick. I watched it before the VOD was sold. Dude, it was... You watched it? Good! Freaking good! He held toe-to-toe with Zack Sabre Jr. I was so fucking proud of him. Mr. Ichiban, are you aware that I actually was in a match against Jake De Leon before? Were you aware of this? Like, it was a 5v5 Survivor Series match. What's the name of that freaking match? There was a Ubusang Nglahi. Yeah. It was in a Ubusang Nglahi Survivor Series style match. I think you might. So yes, if you know exactly what that means, it's insane title. You were this was years ago. This was in the PWR days actually. So this was quite a while ago. Yeah. So a lot of things have changed up indeed. Ubusang Lahi. What a name. So yes. So again, it's the Southeast Asian wrestling scene is very, very close knit, and I'm proud to call Jakey as one of my friends. We streamed together even. Jake De Leon used to stream back in the pandemic days. Anyways, yes. I can gush on and on about that match, man. Oh, so legit, so good. It really proved to anyone that watched it that Jake De Leon can go further. All the way. Like, it was so fucking gratifying to hear Zack Sabre Jr. say that, I went toe-to-toe with someone on the level of Bryan Danielson, but I could not defeat Jake De Leon, and it went to a draw. He drawed against Zack Sabre Jr. Do you realize how utterly rare that is to go to a 30-minute time limit draw with Zack Sabre? That almost never happens. That never, ever happens, So that was just incredible to see. Like, I legit, if you were to go to my... If you were to go to my community server, which is available in the description down below, you join it, you go to, I believe, the wrestling section, of which I post stuff all the damn time there. One of the most recent posts of it is actually... Oh my god, I hope Jake never hears me say this. I have a screenshot of Jake sitting at the corner, hearing Zack Sabre say all that, and he has his eyes closed with a look of utter satisfaction, and gratification and what's the word? Not calm, but like grateful. Yeah, gratefulness. He had this look of utter gratefulness that he got this opportunity and got into this insane time limit draw with Zack Sabre. And he was like almost in tears over it. Like I have had a like when I watched that match with a few fellow professional wrestlers, one of which who tends to be very strict and pretty hard, very critical, like much more so than me, you know. And even he was like, "Oh my god, yeah, Jake is so good." He was so happy, like legit, so impressed with Jake. He was already impressed with Jake, but this sealed the deal for him. Like, oh, just I could gush on and on. I speak about it like this is my WrestleMania, like it's practically a WrestleMania tier match, and it sort of is for at least for Filipino wrestling, you know. Jake is a national treasure, dude. I really hope he doesn't. I hope he goes beyond the Philippines. I seriously hope so. He's like he has to go further. If Dante Chen could do it, so can Jakey. Jake is a national treasure, for real. Yeah, this crazy match recently in Singapore, where so as good as Jake is, he is quite fond of his comic spots as well. He got into a bit of a sticky situation where so he recently he's been calling himself the Filipino Fighting Rooster. He's been coming up with a essentially a chicken mask. Yeah, you know, because he's from Bacolod after all. Chicken inasal. So he comes up with this chicken mask, right? And one of his opponents in a fatal 4-way match was a Singaporean wrestler literally called the Butcher Man. We think he's a cannibal, and he enters with literally a cleaver. And if you know anything about Singapore, they love their chicken rice. Their national dish is, I believe, chicken rice. So, at a certain point in the match, Butcher Man took the chicken mask, put it on Jake's head, whilst Jake was down on the ground, a little bit dazed, not sure what's happening. Grabbed his cleaver. Jake finally came about and saw the Butcher Man with a cleaver and realized what was happening and ran off like a chicken. It's great. If you wish to search for it, Mr. Ichiman, you can go to the Singapore Pro Wrestling's Instagram page. I believe there's a clip there that you can find and see see Jake running away from a Butcher Man. Yeah. So yeah, Jake can do all sorts. Jake can do all sorts. He's not just Mr. Match of the Night. No. He's much more versatile than that. Much more versatile than that. Now where was I? Wait, let me look at my notes. He's a showman, indeed. Like Penta. Very versatile wrestler. Very versatile wrestler. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, concerning why Tagalog is one of the optional languages in Raw and Netflix. In fact, in Raw pay-per-views in general. In WWE pay-per-views or PLEs in general, is because, and I heard this from Stan himself, it is because Filipino or Tagalog is one of the most widely spoken second languages in North America. There is a very, very substantial Filipino community in North America. It is, not to the extent of Spanish, but it's the third. So next to Spanish, it is one of the most widely spoken second languages in North America. So WWE, took notice of this. They themselves have have a few Filipino wrestlers themselves. Y'all support your own. Big time. So that's why it became one of the options, and I'm so unbelievably proud of Stan because he's good. He knows his stuff in professional wrestling. That's for damn sure. So whilst the Indonesians, I could sort of tell that their knowledge in wrestling isn't that great. Since they were doing this thing when it comes to commentary, where they were just like sort of just explaining what's happening in right in front of them, as opposed to giving context, as opposed to providing history, as opposed to giving insight. Stan can give insight, can give context, can give history, because he himself is a big pro wrestling fan, dude, and he's done stuff. Like I remember he actually went to America before, did like a mock broadcast thing there, and oh man, to say he looked like he belonged, no questions asked, baby. No questions asked. But the unanswered question is, does Jake taste like chicken? Is he delicious if you make chicken rice from him? He is bacolod bread inasal fed. So chicken inasal is a traditional Filipino dish that originated from the city of Bacolod in the Philippines. They love their roast chicken, essentially. So maybe, I don't know. Have I bit Jake before? Have I bit Jakey before? No? Pity. Welcome, Jason. Welcome, Jason. It's served with soy sauce and calamansi. I should head to my local Filipino restaurant and check it out proper. I have a few Filipino dishes already. Sisig, sinigang, but I should go get some chicken inasal. In Mang Inasal, it's also served with chicken oil. Ooh, the oil of a chicken. I gotta wash my weight. Yeah. So the option of listening to it in different languages is a great little option to have for all sorts of folks, because some folks primarily speak in Filipino, in Mandarin, in Indonesian. Do you think WWE wants to shirk away this potential audience? No. By the way, Mang Inasal is the most commonly known chicken inasal retailer in the Philippines. Gotcha. It's found pretty easily around the country. Hey, good to know. I mean, let's face it, I only know mainly Jollibee. Like, Jollibee is available in my country, for Pete's sakes, of Malaysia. So I get to learn a little bit of Indonesian while I was watching WWE. It's kind of awesome. Also, here's something interesting about I think it was a little bit better with episode 2, but in episode 1, the way they filmed it is really interesting. There were a lot more close-ups, to the point where a bit of my this is a little bit of my old school side coming out. How do I explain this? How should I explain this delicately? Is what I mean. Yeah, sorry, I like to like wave around my riding crop sometimes. So there's, I don't want to give away the magic too much, Triple H already said there's only good guys and bad guys, and that's true. And he could have gone further, but he didn't. Okay, and I'm also not going to go as much further. But what I'm getting at is, there's certain things that wrestlers do, where we communicate with each other, and you can sort of see that they're revealing a little bit, because there were so many close-ups with the camera work, of which is fantastic, by the way. But it almost revealed a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff, actually. To the point where like I was like, to those who actually do practice the art of professional wrestling, oh, we could pick it up. All right. I know some of my fellow wrestlers, they could practically like hear every single damn thing. For me, maybe not too obviously so. Like I know this one. There's this one fellow wrestler of mine. Jeez, like I was watching this live show before with him. We were at the very back, and he said he could hear something being communicated. Oh yeah, there's hidden communication in wrestling matches, right? Nah, and that's all. I mean, I won't deny it. How it goes about. I am not gonna reveal it either. I'm not gonna reveal that. I'm still a little bit of an old school guy in that sense. You know, we're magicians. We're magicians with suplexes and slams. So still gonna preserve the magic, almost for your sake. Nah. So yeah, some folks I have just great hearing and can literally hear it from all the way to the end of the audience. It's crazy. I can see it happening. So for the most part, if you're enjoying wrestling, you as a regular audience member, whether it be live in front of your face or on Netflix, can't really tell. Can't really tell. So the show went on as usual. It's just something that was interesting that I picked up. Indeed, I believe in episode 2 it got a little bit better. Just a little bit. I'm more of a casual guy who just chimes in with the storylines here and there. The fact that you watch Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jake De Leon means that you're not really that casual. Not really that casual. Oh yeah. Oh, I just saw my notes. One of the most surprising. So obviously, there were a lot of the celebrities that I knew were already like long time diehard wrestling fans. That I sort of knew who they were, and they didn't come too much of a surprise to me. The one that actually took me off guard was Richard Gadd. Why was Richard Gadd a wrestling? He didn't even say that he was a wrestling fan. He just was there. He's not too well known. But he sort of like got in the headlines in recent memory with his almost autobiographical show Baby Reindeer. You guys know Baby Reindeer? It was all the rage when it came out in recent memory. And he was essentially the main actor in it, the main writer in it. In fact, the show is based on his early life of when he was stalked. Yeah. And he appeared in Raw on Netflix. Wild. Oh, you can stop. Nah. That was wild to see. So you might not know who he is, but if you follow a little bit about the whole Baby Reindeer saga, it's and the whole drama behind it, and his fascinating history. Yeah. Pretty surprising. Pretty surprising. Well, that was someone I didn't expect to see at all. Oh. One thing that I was actually legit shocked that they revealed, that it was said by commentary by Michael Cole. So and this was for the main event, which was Seth freaking Rollins versus CM Punk. One of the things that he said that whilst Rollins made his entrance was that Michael Cole name dropped Seth's real name. Colby Lopez. He dropped his actual real name. Like because he was explaining that in Seth's younger years, when he was still known as Colby Lopez, he tried to meet up with CM Punk for training, you know, but like, was really mentioning his actual name necessary? Like, I gotta admit, even I was like, what was the point of that? Like, I get that this is a new era where we can blur the lines a little bit, you know, still play around with this a little bit, but like to the point where you reveal the real name, and so that was essentially revealed that Seth Rollins is his WWE name, which yes, but like now we're almost going fourth Wally with this sort of thing. Suddenly we're going all Brechtian with it. Well, that's wild. I mean, I still have a bit of a features when it comes to knowledge in the wrestling scene. Just started watching back in 2023. Ooh, that's not too bad. That's all right. That's perfectly all right. Look, you don't need to be a historian to enjoy wrestling after all. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. You know, perfectly fine. And so that was a actually really interesting main event final match to end things off, actually, because it was essentially a face versus face match. Good guy versus good guy. Like, both Punk and Rollins were seen as good guys at that point. It was a great match too. It was one of those matches where they were just spamming each other's finishes against each other. Like GTS versus the Storm. Seth using the GTS. Punk using the Storm. And they traded back and forth. The crowd enjoyed it. They really, really enjoyed it. Once again, just like the first match, simpler match, but it was still a nice physical match. Indeed, it was great. It was a lot of fun, indeed. Do you guys have any thoughts of Raw on Netflix? Any further thoughts on episode 1? The very, 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 very substantial episode 1. Wiggle. So yes, absolutely, it was a rousing success, whether I like it or not, and I do actually legitimately like it a lot. Oh, hang on, let me just drink a little bit of my tea. Been talking for more than an hour straight. 1 second. Oh, okay. All right, let us keep on going with episode 2 actually. And you know how soon I so again I didn't see it live. You know where? You know how soon I saw episode 2? I finished its entirety 15 minutes before the stream started. I finished watching episode 2 of Raw on Netflix 15 minutes before it started. And so that was actually so episode 2 is much fresher in my mind. Okay, I returned Wi-Fi was off. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. You live in the Philippines. I totally understand. I think someone Gunter chopped the cable. Is that what we're calling hot ass chops now? Gunter chops. Huh. He does not hold the patent for that. Please, God, no. Please, God, no. So the second Raw episode on Netflix is, I suppose, a more typical Monday Night Raw episode. I don't think there still were some celebrities involved. There still were some celebrities involved. There still were it still looked super fancy. Lots and lots of fireworks, a pyro for certain. I think more than usual. But for the most part, it definitely felt like a more typical Monday Night Raw episode. Why? For one thing, the wrestling definitely was a little bit more complex, a little more physical. There was more action to be had as opposed to where the matches where one of the matches' big aim was to be super clear with the wrestling language. Now it's like, okay, there's stuff in this episode where it's definitely catered more for wrestling fans. Like there's definitely one particular match where I think a regular audience member might have some trouble following. Like it was definitely super fast paced. We'll get to that soon. So obviously one of the big things about this, the big, very talked about things about the second episode is, of course, the debut of Penta. And we've gone through a good bit about Penta's match, Penta's debut indeed. But a couple more things I'll say about it, however. For one, they built this up via Chad Gable. And they really built up Chad Gable. Like, he's seen as one of the top guys right now, you know. Not championship level yet, but very close there. Yeah, Penta Senpai. Oh God, may Penta never see that. Please. Oh gosh, why did I read that like that? Oh shoot. Oh no. Yeah, Chad Gable's on a roll in character. Absolutely. So I was actually low-key a little bit surprised to see that this match, that it was very competitive. Very competitive. This was, because usually when people debut, they usually dominant. They're usually almost practically squashing the other person, you know. No, we are not clipping this and sending it to Penta. He does not need this model here haunting his dreams. Okay, he's actually in WWE. He gets to live his dreams. Chill. I'm actually glad that it was Gable that fought Penta. Yeah, same. Because if I had to guess as to why it was like when I say competitive match, I mean like there were moments where Chad Gable dominated. There were moments where Penta dominated. There were moments where it's neck and neck. Like, wait, like you actually legit thought, wait, is Gable actually going to win this? You know? Like if there's someone to fight a wrestler the caliber of Penta on his first day, it's gotta be Gable. Yeah. So if I had to guess, it's because they wanted to sort of like, not to say test Penta, but to show his range. Again, it goes back to him being a showman. So, if it was me being Mr. Booker, if it was me planning this match, I will admit, I kind of want to see Penta being more dominant, being more cocky, but in this match he had to fight from under because Gable was working his leg in this match, and that basically meant that Penta gets to show off his sympathetic side, his babyface imperial side. I'm kind of surprised that they actually went for that when he was going where his whole look in his debut was essentially his very classic evil ninja look. A showman and someone who really brings oomph and impact to lucha libre. So there's a reason why Michael Cole name dropped Rey Mysterio there. When Penta entered, it is because WWE has been trying to find the next Rey Mysterio, so to speak. And I think that this first match was sort of trying to replicate that a little bit. Because Rey Mysterio is like one of the greatest underdog wrestlers ever. You know, not only is he super colorful, but he's also very good at garnering sympathy. Partly because he's so good in selling, so good looking in trouble. And believe it or not, there is technique in that too. You know, and so good in coming back from being in trouble. So there's this whole zero to hero thing that Rey Mysterio is so good at. And I think they're trying to replicate a little bit of that with Penta, you know. So far, there has been no one that's been able to sort of do that. And I think they're trying to do that with Penta. Obviously, with Penta, you know, he's a good bit cockier than Rey Mysterio. Actually, scratch that. He is 100 times cockier than Rey Mysterio. And more importantly, he's a talker. Penta, even in his earlier days in Lucha Underground, has always been a talker, whether it's in Spanish or English. And so he was going through this super back and forth match, like surprisingly long match against Chad Gable, showing his full gamut, being trying to fight from under, being dominant, showing in some ways showing off the full breadth of his wrestling ability. And really winning over the crowd. In fact, he didn't have to win the crowd. The crowd was already behind him. They all knew who he was. Actually, and I forgot this about Penta, because it's been a while since I've seen his matches. He does a corner hit stand. Like me, he does a corner hit stand, but he does it with a double stomp. I do it with a double knee drop, actually. Yeah, we were all rooting him. Yeah, everyone knows who he is. There's a reason why he debuted in Raw as opposed to NXT. Because he's already such a massive name. Like, he's legit already has a few videos on YouTube that's over 1 million views. That's how big of a name he is. So he was legitimate. So they called him. Yeah, if he debuted in NXT, holy cow. I mean, that'll still be big news for sure. Not to say he duked the roster, but he's literally his name brand is bigger than NXT, you know? Not to say he will dominate, but his name brand is to the point where, like, no, he goes straight to Raw because, not just because of his skills, but because, like even, like, he's just, his name is so, like, he's legit one of the biggest free agents at the time, you know? So just incredible. Oh, and obviously, spoiler alert, he won his match, you know, very back and forth match. Funny enough, he actually won it with the Penta driver. I like to call him Pentagon Jr., okay? Okay? Like, hot take. I knew him as Pentagon Jr. I love the name Pentagon Jr. I kind of wish he still had the name Pentagon Jr., but I do prefer Penta over Penta El Cerro Miedo. Like, this is one of the few times where WWE loves to shorten names, you know, and that kind of a thing. Kind of like, no, actually a lot of examples I don't like. But this is one of those cases where going from Penta El Cerro Miedo to Penta was the right call. It's like, but he's called 5 now. But, you know, some people are named by numbers anyway, so it's fine. Yeah, Penta El Cerro Miedo is quite a mouthful. Yeah, and it doesn't, like, yeah, it's a little too on the nose. Penta is at least, like, nice and concise. So in his post-match promo, very interesting too, actually. They do this a good bit now, actually. But Penta cut a promo, a very passionate promo in both English and Spanish. Not English or Spanish this time, but English and Spanish. And I gotta say, it's been a while. I even back then in AEW, his English was already pretty good, but this time round, you could tell that his English is markedly better. It is a good bit better than last time he cut a promo. So I was much more confident in it too, actually. Really, really good. Especially because, remember, guys, he is a Mexico native. Rey Mysterio, okay, Mr. #1 luchador in WWE. He was born in San Diego, America, North America. So his first languages is English and Spanish at the same time. And Rey Mysterio has never been a talker. Never ever. Decent when he needs to be. But nothing on the level of charisma like Penta. Yeah, I could really understand his English. Indeed, indeed. And it was perfect that he actually made his debut in, this was San Jose, I believe, San Jose, where there is a large Latino population. So when he spoke in Spanish, the crowd followed suit as well. So this is one of those cases where it's like the perfect place for him to make his debut. So location, 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 as they do say. So everything just lined up perfectly for him to have this fantastic debut. We got to appeal to the English speakers and the Spanish speakers as well. You know, so they really took advantage of that. Indeed. Oh yeah, and I suppose the celebrity for this episode that caught me really off guard, Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier of UFC fame, one of the most decorated MMA heavyweights of all time. And I was surprised to see him there, but not surprised that he's a wrestling fan. I've known that he was a wrestling fan for years now. Yes, he loves watching wrestling, actually. So this match, episode 2, had a lot more matches for sure. Episode 1 had I swear it was only was it just 3 matches? Something like that. And that's not a knock against episode 1 either. They have there was a lot of promos to be cut. There were a lot of celebrities to be shown. A lot of endorsements to be made. That sort of a thing. One thing that seems to be a regular thing now with Raw and Netflix that I'm a little on the fence about. Drone shots. Lots and lots of drone shots. Like literally flying across the audience, near the ring. Awesome. It looked amazing. I don't know if it's too much now, you know? It feels like every other match there are drone shots. And that's great. And that's not really a bad thing. It's just, I'm wondering if it will lose its luster too quickly. You know, it is such an upgrade from those super fast cuts that WWE used to do. Okay? Oh man, those were almost like the dark years where there was so many super fast jump cuts that was so hard to follow the action, and even if you could, it was just so jarring to watch sometimes. Whereas with these drone shots, you know, they are following mainly the audience. It slowly moves around the ring when the wrestlers are wrestling. So it's easy to track, easy to see what's going on, for sure. So it's definitely much better compared to those super quick cuts. But I'm just wondering if it's something that should be used a little more sparingly, you know? There are certain things that should be used more sparingly in wrestling, in my personal opinion. This being one of them. Kind of like how, do you remember in AEW where Sting would wrestle almost all the time in a long sleeve shirt? It drove me insane. And then the one time I saw him wrestle in a pay-per-view, he finally took off the shirt, revealing his classic Sting wrestling singlet. And I'm like, yes, finally. And he looked fine too. He was great. He looked great. So it's something like that where, you know, you can save things up a little bit more. But we'll see. Sting! Yes, it's Sting! Possibly one of my favorite moments in episode 2 is Gunther versus Jay's promo segment. Gunther and Jay are almost like complete opposites. Gunther is very much business first. I'm all about the championship business. Whereas Jay Uso, yes, main event Jay, but he's all about yeet. Okay, getting the crowd going, being an entertainer. I swear when I saw Sing, the singer on the voice, I was like, come on, do it. Yeah, that does follow him sometimes. Indeed. So yeah, it does follow him sometimes. Indeed. What was I saying? Oh yes. So this was probably one of my favorite parts, just because this was such a great little interaction between the much more straight-laced Gunther and much more playful main event Jey Uso. And so they made great points, you know. Gunther saying that, oh, you're just a really good tag team player. And Jay saying that you know, you're scared to go it alone, but he's willing to take things on. So it was a great little contrast. That was a great build up for the title match next week. And then we come to a very important moment of the show, and they presented it as such. The first ever Women's Intercontinental Championship. Holy cow! Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai brought it. And this is the match I was referring to, that I said that the casuals might have a little bit of trouble following, because this was a speedy match. It almost felt like an NXT match in a way, where it's a little bit more wrestling centric, and it is non-stop movement. To the point where I was like, even I was like, I'm struggling to follow it a little bit. Like, literally, one of the spots early on in the match was a suplex from the apron to the outside on the mats. And the third was sickening. And these were two ladies as well that obviously they're very athletically built, but it wasn't like they were like juggernauts, like Nia Jax, you know, or Piper Niven, that sort of a thing. So they were a lot lean. They were a lot leaner compared to Nia Jax and Piper Niven. So they hit the mat hard. Oh, there was some gnarly moments in this. But it was a great, incredibly intense match. And Lyra Valkyria got the win. And it was a great sportsmanship moment in episode 2 indeed. A lot less personal drama stuff as compared to what was going on with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins for sure. And then one of the funniest moments of the show, I don't know if this was them doing a little bit of comedy stuff, but when Mommy Rhea Ripley came out, you know, so I guess doing a bit of a post-match celebratory promo. Nia Jax came out to interrupt, and she looked like a giant leopard and sounded like a valley girl. Like, what? I knew she always sounded like she's always had this little bit of the valley girl thing going on. But that one-piece outfit was so loud. It was like she ate a few leopards to create this gigantic leopard print one piece. And you know, a leopard print, it's a loud design, but it's not like it's as loud as sequins or tassels and like shiny. But Nia Jax, was she a big lady? Yeah, you're right, Mr. Ichiman. Leopard prints are leopard prints. It was like leopard prints on leopard prints on leopard prints. It was like if a leopard ate a leopard and started to like saunter down the ramp with a radical accent. It was like so loud, and it was the most amount of heat, most amount of booze. The entire arena booed the absolute dickens of Nia Jax, and it was glorious. Somehow, some way, Nia Jax got the loudest boos. And everything was by design. Everything was by glorious purpose with that segment. It was great. Bailey got a little bit of a shine as well. You know, seeing as she was a San Jose native. And so they got to like kick Nia Jax out. Bro, she and Dominic Mysterio are the boo gods. Yeah, they're both able to get to a point where they are heat magnets. They can warm up the entire winter season. So they've both been able to keep this level of heat for so long. It's actually shockingly impressive, actually. Shockingly impressive. And then the main events. So this is another one where I said this is the, so it's kind of like how, so in some ways this sort of mirrors WrestleMania and SummerSlam. WrestleMania is for the casuals, where it's people watching wrestling for the first time, where things have to be a bit simpler, things have to be a bit clearer and obvious. There's celebrities involved, you know, to get people excited, where there's big names there. SummerSlam's where the wrestling is. That's the one for the wrestling fans. That's the one for the ones that really enjoy wrestling. That's what episode 2 was. Episode 1 of Raw on Netflix was for the newcomers, the casuals. Episode 2, this is the one that rewards repeat viewing. Yeah, they can cook my adobo if they could. Because the main event of episode 2 of Raw on Netflix was a street fight between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And they went bonkers. Just so many incredibly gnarly scenes. Probably the biggest one of all was Finn Balor being stretched out with a neck brace, and Damon Priest was like, nope. I still want in. I still want him. And whilst Finn Balor in the neck brace on a stretcher, Damon Priest marches up to him and begins to lariat the shit out of him while he's on the stretcher. That was probably the moment of the night. That was probably the spot of the night. It's just insane. Like, there was Lyra Valkyria suplexing. Yeah, I'll give it a tie. I'll give it a tie. Because that suplex, because you rarely see male wrestlers suplexing each other from apron to mat. It's even rarer for women wrestlers to do that. So that's a tie, because that was gnarly. And then to see Damian unbuckle the stretcher, Damian wheeling the stretcher with Finn Balor on it all the way to the ring, the stretcher flying to the ring, hitting the ring, and then Finn rolling into the ring. Just, that was so insane. That was so gnarly. And mind you, people were still cheering on for Damian, because they wanted blood, they wanted more, and they got more, right? And they kept going too. And in the end, Damian got the victory. You have to see it for yourself, just how utterly insane. I thought it was like a pay-per-view. It was a PLE level match. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. And Damian seemingly ending the feud by yelling at Finn I am not my brother's keeper, delivering the massive south of heaven choke slam. The Finn, 1, 2, 3, for the victory. Well, the way to end episode 2 of Raw on Netflix. Rousing success indeed. And I gotta say, so this is my first time watching, I believe so. Yeah, this is my first time watching 2 full Raw episodes back to back. Of course, you sound Indonesian / Malay. You're Pinoy? No, I'm not Pinoy. Where have I ever made that suggestion? I talk about Filipino stuff a good bit, just because a lot of Filipinos love wrestling, man. So a lot of my viewers are Filipinos, so I don't mind reciprocating. Very thick Asian. Do I sound very Asian? And welcome, Silron Skylark, to Cafe Cornelius guy. Could I introduce you? Oops, my bad. Do you, a little bit of a drink while you're here in my cafe? I am a butler after all. I've got all sorts. I've got bourbon. I've got coffee. Oops. I've got coffee. I've got Coke. I mean, I even have this, if you're so dare. My is very Asian. Cornelius. Not everyone rolls the R's in Asia. I mean, Asia is such a damn big place. There's a reason why we sort of, separated by Southeast Asia, East Asia, Middle East, blah 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 blah. Ope, and you, Seron, you just revealed yourself of where you're from. Ope, is it Seron or Kiron? Which is it now? Oats, don't have oats. I got chocolate cake. I got steak. No. I don't have everything under the damn sun. You want steak? I'll get you steak, Dolphy. Tell me. Brother, but I'm hungry. I have steak. Imagine not being satiated by steak. Jeez. Seron works. Would you like a bit of steak, Seron? Like it's on the cards. It's on the cards. So tell me, how did you guys find the first 2 episodes of Raw on Netflix? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And I give my whole spiel about it. Indeed. I can keep on going. I definitely enjoyed it. I did just wake up, but yeah, sure, yeah. Why not? Good morning to you, Saron. I did sort of position the timing for this so that folks who are in North American time can catch this stream as well. So far so good, pleasant surprise. Same. I don't know, like, were you one of those lads that was still watching WB in its I suppose WEPG era? I suppose that's what it's called. Were you one of those? Because I won't lie, I kind of stopped watching a good bit of that for a long while. Did you get the reference? Not at all. Most importantly of all, Penta's dip was, man, people love Penta, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, indeed. Indeed. So yeah, do you want steak? Oh, sad face. Oh no, I don't know your reference. Sorry. No, I'm not even sure if is that a wrestling reference actually. I'm legitimately not too sure. Yeah, I started watching in 2006, so I was deep in the trenches during the guest host era. Ooh my! So like what was his name? Beaker. That was a whole episode dedicated to the Muppets, right? Yeah, Beaker. He's related to Seamus. Presumably some sort of Hogan reference. I don't get. No, I don't think so. Actually, I don't think so. So there were. So yeah, I mean, it got to the point where like I during WWE's PG era. I mean, I did follow it. Don't get me wrong. Like I enjoyed Daniel Bryan's work. I was like New Japan fueled me during those years. Being the elite, all that jazz. I don't watch wrestling, but I do wrestling. You do? You're a fellow wrestler? And yeah, you should know that every wrestler doesn't necessarily watch every damn thing, man. It's awful, but I love. Oh God, it's like what? Like you love to hate it, sort of a thing. Why so? Because I'll be frank. There was a time where like, oh, it was so tough to watch it. Like there's literally a generation of hate watchers on WWE for so long. I just could not. So Dolphy, are you like a independent professional wrestler in North America or something of the sort? I'll be frank, Dolphy. You tout yourself a heavyweight champ. Is that really heavyweight? But is that really a heavyweight mindset to have to talk about that sort of a thing on a streamer's chat? You know. Because right now, yes, so those who aren't aware, if you need me to like show it off a little bit, here you go. Here's little me doing the IRL wrestling in Southeast Asia. Boom. Overall sucks. Yeah, hate to say so. I mean, as a result, AEW, New Japan. It's just a joke, bruh. Good job. Can you tell the sort of lad that I am? I read, Can you tell what my alignment is? Hello? What, you presumed that I was like, oh, haha, it's so cute. You're such a sweetheart. Ooh, kawaii. Bad entrance, eh? It's alright. I'm the streamer here. Guys. Let me do the funnies. It's all good. It's all juicy. But yeah, you're pleasantly surprised by Raw on Netflix. Like what about it did you enjoy, Saran? What about it did you enjoy? Yeah. Like there was some parts on the PG era that was indeed, it was enjoyable. It wasn't like there were bad wrestlers at all. Like especially when it came to like the pay-per-view wrestling, those main events, they were great. But there definitely was a point where like, it got to the point where it was all John Cena. There's a whole generation of, I like to call them squeakers. Whole generation of squeakers that just was all about John Cena and nothing else. And yeah, I got a little samey as a result. Anyways, Cornelius, may I subscribe and get some tips? As in pro wrestling tips or fitness tips? I can give wrestling tips. I can give I can give wrestling tips. I can give fitness tips. I can give VTubing tips. Maybe voice acting tips, because I know a little bit about that as well. Is that what you're referring to? Actually? Nah, as in training ones. Cardio. Cardio. You knew it? Good. If you are signing up for a professional wrestling academy, the one thing that you can prepare for it immediately before knowing anything else is to ramp up and work on your cardio. Could be simple stuff. You could do cardio almost every day. Up the intensity a little bit. Oh, mainly the overall vibe of it was a lot of fun. Nothing I can put my finger on specifically, but that Jey Uso and Travis Scott entrance was very funny. Yeah. I heard, and I could be wrong on this, that at one point, Travis Scott legit offered Jey Uso his lunch. And Jey Uso, rightfully refused. He has a match coming up. And this was taken out because I did not see that shot in Raw. In the recorded version of Raw. So I didn't see it live. Should have started running. Oh yeah, for real, I gotta have real good cardio. He did. Yeah, so I don't think that was part of the VOD version of Raw on Netflix. Travis Scott. Oh, do you know a little bit about the pro wrestling, Saran? Do you know a little bit about the pro wrestling? SKS gang was watching live and offline group chat. We were pleasantly surprised overall. Ooh. Remind me, what is SKS again, Saran? Remind me. So yes, cardio is so incredibly important for professional wrestling because it's like before strength, before physique, before mobility, cardio first and foremost. Yes, your show, Super Kick Show. Just FYI, Saran, I'm a little bit strict-ish when it comes to people self-promoting on my streams, but it's wrestling related, so it's all good. It's fine. I'll allow it, as the English say. Yeah, but yeah, I've been a non-stop fan since 2006. Lovely. So yeah. The vibes of Raw on Netflix was definitely awesome. As I've mentioned before, in my stream about WrestleMania 40, things just feel so much more relaxed now. As in, things can just flow more naturally. Obviously, things are still very much planned and designed. It's a massive traded company show. So obviously things will be prepped, but not to the point where things are so meticulous, where things are so like what's the word? Where it feels so arbitrated, Where you can hear Michael Cole having so much fun with Pat McAfee. There was a time, and rightfully so, where Michael Cole just sounded like a soundboard, like where he sounded like that, where he sounded like a soundboard where he'll press this for catchphrase 1, he'll press this for catchphrase 2s. Oh my, can it be? Hearing that for almost a decade. Just, Oh, and now he just feels so relaxed. Things just moves on so smoothly. Oh, thank God he's a real. I know, right? He actually sounds like a real person now. Like, to hear him say, "Damn it, I love professional wrestling" in WrestleMania 40 is a core memory now in my brain. To hear him say that was so gratifying. Oh yeah, no worries. Only just sharing an anecdotal story that we're hanging online and pop for the Travis comment. No problems.
My sweet dear, thank you.
Dolphy, just Dolphy subscribed to the channel.
Thank you so much, Dolphy, for the subscription. One of my aims for this year is to hit YouTube partnership. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know what? Let me be honest. What's considered wrestling and what's considered martial arts? Because I learn martial arts, but turns out kicking isn't my thing. So martial arts is martial arts. It is a form of, it is a wide umbrella of combat, of actual combat or traditional combat. You know, so something like karate. There is the traditional side of it, and then there is the actual combat sport side of it, and they both look similar, but they operate very differently. Wrestling is simulated combat. There's many definitions for how I like to define professional wrestling. Is that it is a multidisciplinary art of acting, athletics, combat, and there was one more thing I'm missing here. No, it's man, I forgot this. I used to be good with this. Explain this. It's acting, athletics. Oh yeah, acting, athletics, and combat sports. All three of that is professional wrestling. Shakespeare-esque combat theater. Indeed. Wrestling in the round, in the way. Theater in the round, actually. A lot of people don't realize that. Oh yeah, Cornelius, I can't keep up with this because I don't have enough knowledge, but I'll still visit rarely. Not a problem, Dolphy, not a problem. In your own time. I like to think that I can be a nice little missing link between VTubing and professional wrestling. So if you wish to know a little bit more about professional wrestling, actually, my little streams about talking about all things wrestling is a good little place for that, indeed. Pro wrestling can be anything and is for everyone, indeed. As someone who is a big fan of DDT, oh, indeed. If you're wondering what DDT is, that's Dramatic Dream Team. It's a Japanese wrestling promotion. Let's just say that they take wrestling in a very, very weird direction. Mascots wrestling. They recently did a kotatsu gimmick match where there's a kotatsu involved. It basically is like a, what the hell do I even describe a kotatsu? It's like a table with a blanket on it. It's a very traditional Japanese thing, and they very much involved it in a wrestling match. It's great. I love it. And TJPW is going to be doing a big match on a bullet train next month. Nice. Siron, this will pop you a little bit. I met Sanshiro Takagi-san before, last year. Twice. How I get my strength is hard labor and chores. Very good. We all get fit in many different ways. How do you feel about wrestling, though? That's kind of a big, complicated question for me to answer, because in some ways, wrestling is what fuels my content creation right now, and I'm very grateful for it. But there's a reason why I am VTubing more than I am wrestling. Number one is because I can do VTubing almost any time. Wrestling, especially in my part of the world, I'd be lucky if I can wrestle 5 times a year even. You know, you guys in North America, you guys can wrestle like, almost on a weekly basis, depending on where you are and how good your level is. Bet Kit would love to hear that. Wait, you know Kit, Saberfang, Siron? VTubing is a lot less risk. Well, yeah, true in a way. I say that because I don't have a choice but to do a bit more VTubing because as some of you know, I have a pretty severe chronic injury. So I'm one of those wrestlers with a chronic injury and still wrestling, still training, in fact. So yeah, I'm very open about this, by the way, so it's fine. I have a degenerative disc on my L5 lower back. Happened many years ago. I'm still stuck with it. I've invested so much in it. Yeah. So in other words, you're a VTuber with wrestling experience. More like I'm a pro wrestler that became a VTuber. How I went. So my thinking of this is, Cornelius Lowe can continue on as Cornelius Lowe, just in a different form. So I have this as a backup, so to speak. So even if I were to retire from professional wrestling, and that is on the cards, I won't lie to you, I don't feel I'm there yet because I can still wrestle how I like to wrestle. But if it comes to a point where I really shouldn't anymore, yeah, I have VTubing. I have this. No. I still have this. Instead of doing instead of doing this IRL, I can do this virtually. Naughty chat. Naughty chat. So like how my character started as a D&D character, but now it's evolved so much than that. Yeah, a little bit. I'm still Cornelius Lowe, but I have fashioned it for VTubing purposes. Because if I was a one-to-one transference, I suppose, from and I was me as a wrestler, I think it would be fun to be a bit heelish sometimes, but all the time, no. So that's kind of why I kind of like showed Dolphy no face when he was showing me a little spice, and I showed him spice back. That's my wrestling slide showing indeed. It might be a lot indeed if I was good to go full heel. It'll be a little. I think that could be a little bit much, because there are different expectations when it comes to VTubing. Indeed, being a bad guy all the time sounds exhausting. Some people can do it. We know who those people are. And I can sort of do that in wrestling IRL, but for VTubing, I almost want to embrace the idol side of VTubing, the male VTuber side of things. Indeed, I don't know how people did that in the old days, 24/7. That was when the business was very, very different back in those days. Even when I first started off training and wrestling, only 7 years ago, things were still very different from now. Business has changed by so much these days. Also, since we're here, and I am sort of making this a bit of an exception, Saron, do you know Kit Saberfang? Because he's kind of someone that I've been wanting to reach out for a little bit, actually. Just hold on, just checking something. So in the meantime, whilst that goes on, something I also want to talk a little bit about, and we're gonna pivot away from so-called mainstream wrestling, quote unquote, to not even indie wrestling. It's something to do with wrestling training, something that happened recently, actually. I met them when I went out to see. Oh, wow, that's awesome. DPW. Oh, I heard DPW is awesome. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna say it now. I'm gonna say it. Let's just say that I'm in this deep. I'm in this deep, so I know some insider stuff. So I'm not gonna reveal anything. But I definitely know about DPW and how prestigious it is. Incredible. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. What was my favorite live wrestling experience? Because that's the thing. That's the thing. My live wrestling experience. Remember, guys, I come from a region in the world where until very, very recently, there is no such thing as indie wrestling. So my live wrestling experience is me being part of a wrestling show. Actually, no, not completely true. I deliberately attended a live wrestling show, not as crew, but as audience member. I wanted to see what it was like firsthand. So I watched Malaysia Pro Wrestling, which is my home wrestling promotion. I watched it live first, and then I attended it as a trainee, so to speak. Plus, my friend Massey films a lot of the scene down there, so it was really fun to see the people on some shows we'd watch. Ooh, you are indeed in this deep as well. Yeah. So imagine this, Siron. No indie wrestling in the entire region of the world until like 10 years ago. Yeah. And even then, we're still kind of struggling here a little bit. We're lucky if there's like 5 events per year, you know? God, no indie wrestling. Yeah. But things have changed up a good bit now, actually. Imagine this. In Thailand, coming weekend, an independent Thai wrestler. His name is Paksa. He's got this like hard Muay Thai thing going on with him. And he's damn good. Do you know who he's facing in Bangkok coming weekend? Paksa versus Naomichi Maru Fuji. Naomichi Maru Fuji. Oh yeah, I live near the place CM Punk is from, so I am so spoiled. So spoiled. Maru Fuji, LFG. Yeah. So jealous. Dude. Last week, Singapore Pro Wrestling. A couple of my fellow Malaysian wrestlers went down to Singapore to wrestle in a championship match, actually, tag team championship match. You know what was the main event? It was a Singaporean pro wrestler versus Trent Seven. Coming weekend, Paksa versus Naomichi Marufuji. Paksa has previously wrestled Keno before. You know, so there's been some strides, so to speak. There's been some strides. My good friend, Jake De Leon, homegrown Filipino wrestling talent, wrestled against Zack Sabre Jr. Fucking good match. Love Seven. Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet you've seen a good bit of Seven in person before. Yeah, I grew up going to Ring of Honor shows every month, so I am in a weird space. Oh my god, monthly Ring of Honor shows. Oh wow. Ring of Honor in the early years. Oh, that must have been absolute bonkers. So yeah. I'm very, very privileged to have like been in the same locker room with like some insane names. Who can I name off right now? Just in the locker rooms that I've been in. I was deep in the night. Oh, that must have been cool to see. It must have been so cool to see his journey now, man. Jeez, there's a whole generation of seeing indie wrestlers going to big wrestling promotion now. That is insane to hear. So, me personally, I've shared the locker rooms with, if I were to like name some big names, Tajiri, Robbie Eagles, what about am I able to name like that I've been personally a part of? Oh man, it's been so long. That might be these are the two big ones. Love Robbie Eagles. Oh no, absolutely. I'll tell you a little story actually. So this was me in my when I was still a bit early on, and I've already established that I was wearing this white mask, right? So this was so cute of him. So this was when he was still in the sniper. I was like, dude, he came to my PW Malaysia Pro Wrestling when he just got kicked out of the Bullet Club. So he joined Chaos. So it was so funny because we literally announced him as formerly of Chaos, formerly of Bullet Club, currently member of Chaos. It was so funny. So in backstage, he was still wearing his sniper sights gimmick thing, right? So he saw my mask and he was like, "Oh, cool mask!" And he showed up that he wears that sniper sculpting on his face. So we got to like trade a little bit with that, you know. Super chill dude. One of the genuinely a real nice man. Like he's awesome lad. Awesome lad. Like I actually is this a bit marky of me? Yeah, fuck it. I queued up wanting to buy his merch post-show. And he was like, "Mate, why are you queuing up?" And he gave me a shirt. I was like, "No, wait, really? You wanted me to, I don't have to pay for this?" Like, on the house, mate. I still have that shirt to this day. It's the Ron Miller special. Yeah, it's that Ron, so on the shirt, it says that Ron Miller special. Yeah, you're allowed to be fat and a worker. I think that's so fucking important, actually. I think that's so fucking important, especially for someone like me, that, you know, is this in this weird place where, like, I've got this bad injury about me, but I still enjoy wrestling. I don't get to wrestle so much, but I'm still training to wrestle. I think it's so important to still fuel that side of you as a fan, because I do come from that generation where I still do come from that generation, the old school mindset where, you know, I see myself as a worker first. I see myself as a wrestler first, and, you know, you should put your fan markiness side away, because when you're amongst your peers, you know. So I do see Robbie Eagles as my peer. I do see Trent Seven as my peer. You know, so I shouldn't be marking out in front of him and acting like a fanboy, but at the same time, I gotta feel why I feel and remind myself why I do this as a wrestler, you know. So it really helps that I get to see my fellow wrestlers, people that I consider my brothers and sisters. They get to wrestle with these huge names and create huge opportunities for themselves, you know. Same. I know I'm not physically capable of getting in the ring after hitting my head at work a year ago. I'm sorry to hear that, Siron. If anything, I just try to stream indies and wrestling as much as possible to give back. That's great to hear. Love wrestling, so I do my best to help whenever I can. That's awesome to hear, Siron. That's awesome to hear. Really appreciate that. So, and you know, I also do wrestling adjacent content creation as well. like I have legit done stuff like a VTuber tier listing where I have like categorized VTubers into what kind of wrestler are they? Are they a powerhouse? Are they a high flyer? You know, that sort of jazz. That sort of jazz. I had to do a Hell in a Cell match with my Wi-Fi. Oh, no problem, Ichiman. I totally understand. Totally understand. We are talking a little bit about still being a fan whilst being an active worker, being part of the industry. Sorry if TMI? No, not at all. I'm glad we could share this, Siron. This is part of what I do. This is this is the exact stream to do that. This stream is all about talking about wrestling. All about talking about wrestling, indeed. Yeah. So you can just follow a little bit about with the chat, Mr. Ichiman. So Siron here is a little bit part of the pro wrestling industry himself, actually. Siron, if you don't mind, I actually do intend to message Kit about something. You mind just DM him, let me know that, hey, a certain masked wrestler turned Butler VTuber wants to send him a little message. Hell yeah! Thank you so much. Thank you so much, so I really appreciate that. You know, just so that doesn't come fully out of nowhere. Fully out of nowhere. Pro wrestling is so close knit. Like, it is insane that I'm like okay, Siran, the both of us, our degrees of separation to the very, very tippity top of WWE and AEW and New Japan. It's not that fucking far off, man. Not that fucking far off. Like Dante Chen, you know, of NXT fame, the first Singaporean pro wrestler. He came back to Singapore for the holidays for a good little bit, and he trained with the SPW boys, Singapore Pro Wrestling, and I'm very close, and I'm pretty close with the SPW boys, actually. Oh yeah, mine is I'm sure it freaking is. I'm sure it freaking is. That was really, really cool. It's really cool in that sense. Yeah. So yeah, getting to hear hear some of the stories from the Malaysian wrestlers that have gone off to other countries. Like my good friend, no, he's not a good friend. He's someone I'm trying to like make sure he's on a straight path, trying to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. Miles Carew, dude, imagine this, a Malaysian wrestler getting to wrestle in Vietnam. VPW, Vietnam Pro Wrestling. Like, Chris Jericho was there. He made an appearance in Vietnam Pro Wrestling. What is this life? God, that was so wild. God, VPW, please, VPW, please. Yeah, it's insane, right? Like, if you know who Viva Vaughn is in AEW, she helped fund the ring for Vietnam Pro Wrestling. Chris Jericho made an appearance in Vietnam Pro Wrestling. My good friend Miles Carew, he wrestled in front of a huge crowd of 500 people in Ho Chi Minh. Oh yeah, I watched her start career on Reddit. Yeah, she shows up on Reddit. I mean, yeah, I know that. I don't go on Reddit. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Hey! It's clear that I'm slightly chronically online. I should go on Reddit. We both need to go on Reddit list. That's for damn sure. Just so much dumbassery sometimes. I'm grateful for Reddit, but jeez. It can be a den of idiocy sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And sometimes, even when it's not a den of idiocy, where it's perfectly rational people around, unfortunately, it can be a little bit of an echo chamber. Even when it seems like, in some subreddits, it seems everything's perfectly reasonable, but because it's an echo chamber, you kind of don't end up seeing the bigger picture of things. You know, there's all that jazz, all that jazz. You know, that sort of a thing. Also, I hate that I have to go to work soon. I can listen still, but I have to drive. Listen, just put me on. Just listen in. You know, focusing on driving. Just listen to me. So yeah. So we're living in interesting times indeed, where I don't know. I really am hoping that that Southeast Asian wrestling can take the next step, because there is so much is happening here, you know. There's been some projects, like for example, Southeast Asian wrestling has legitimately gotten on television before. A little bit. When I say television, I mean like wrestling shows on Southeast Asian television. Like, this is a crazy fact. I cannot believe this was a thing. Philippines, once again, the land of yeah, crazies, crazy. I'm sorry, y'all Filipinos, y'all a little bit crazy, okay? There was actually legitimately Filipino wrestling on Filipino television in the early 90s. Not for very long, unfortunately. For a little short while. But it was actually there. Like there was like, I think one of the wrestlers' names was actually called Mr. Bogey. Which basically means like Mr. Handsome. So funny. We are a bit freaky, I will not deny it. Actually not by a bit, really. As someone who has been to Manila for wrestling before. Yep. The shit I saw in those Manila streets. Wow. Like, I kid you not. I was in the car of the boss of that wrestling promotion that I was hired by. I've heard very little of it. Yeah. It wasn't. It only was on television very, very briefly. But it was. But the fact that it actually happened is a whole achievement in and of itself. And even these past few years, there is still like it's on like Puso Wrestling is on Solar Sports. Solar Sports, isn't that like the second biggest sports channel in Philippines? Actually, no, that's pretty darn good. So anyways. So we're gonna go from Solar Sports to, and I swear I actually saw this. There was this lady, and you know, it's unfortunate that it's pretty obvious that she was like a bit of a drifter, sort of a person, on a very, very busy Manila street, mind you. She was wearing nothing but, I swear, like plastic wraps, like you know those plastic wraps that you used to wrap luggage on? Yeah, something like that. Like, you know, like you wrap the luggage on to secure it more, you know, that sort of plastic wrappings. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Okay, disappearing for a bit, but excited to hear all about this. Would love to hear about the scene out there and how you got into wrestling as a whole. Ooh, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. So in my brief time in Manila, yeah, I saw some shit. You didn't see too much from that. Yeah. Welcome. Wakasa Gihime. Oh, we have a Hime princess. Welcome to Cafe Cornelius. Shall I interest you in a bit of something from let me put away my writing crop. This isn't. I'm not punishing anyone. Don't worry. Can I interest you in something from the cafe, perhaps? No, it's never a sports guy. Oh, apparently, Solar Sports is legitimately the second biggest sports channel in the Philippines. I heard this from fellow Filipinos. God, it's like I talk about so much about the Philippines on this channel. I really should make a visit there one day. I should wrestle in the Philippines one day. God, hottest crowd in Southeast Asia. Easy. Well, the Vietnamese are giving a run for y'all's money. That's for sure. Oi. Mr. Ichiban, calm down. Calm them pointy tits. Okay? I run a tight ship here. Don't make me bring up my sound, my whipping sound effect. Don't make me do it. I'm messing around. Well, I'm not. I never mess around. I never mess around. So, let's see. Send up on Siron's request. And how I got into wrestling as a whole. Okay, essentially how I got into wrestling. So how do I explain this? Okay, so wrestling, at least in Malaysia, where I am from, we have this thing. How do I even explain this? We have this thing called mamak, and it's essentially like a it's like almost a borderline 24-hour cafe, serving traditional Malaysian food, and it is like a Malaysian tradition, practically, like a Malaysian institution. And they very frequently will have like televisions or big projector screens showing a live sports, essentially. So it's like a sports bar in that sense, but for everyone in Malaysia. And very frequently, wrestling is shown. Wrestling is shown, you know. It is almost so until very, very recently, WWE is on Malaysian cable television. Oh, hello there. Wakasagi. Well, hello there. So I was exposed to the WWE from a very, very early age, indeed, you know, thinking it was real, thinking that this was insane, all that jazz. Although, funny enough, for my own personal wrestling journey, something that differs me from some other folks is that, funnily enough, I was not just exposed to WWE. For a lot of people, it was WWE and bust, right? Just WWE, nothing else in Southeast Asia. But another wrestling company was also broadcasted and televised in Malaysia, where I'm from. Shockingly, TNA. So one of my earliest memories of wrestling is actually Samoa Joe dominating. I watched Samoa Joe when I was a wee lad, when I was a little squirt. So to see Samoa Joe going from this, well, I wouldn't say skinny guy, you know, it was a good bit more svelte in his earlier years. One of my reasons why I enjoyed watching so much of Samoa Joe back then was because, like, I could tell that he was a bad guy back then, but he was one of those bad guys like, he does cheat a little bit, but he still gets into the fight. He still actually actively fights the person and dominates too. He was like so cocky, so confident, and so undeniable. He will bring the fight to his opponents, you know. And he was just so awesome to watch, you know. Like so yeah, I was a little bit of a work rate mark, mark, even in my earlier years, you know. Yes, TNA in its earlier years, insane that I actually saw Samoa Joe back when I was a wee little shrimp, all the way till now in AEW. When I tell you that I was one of the few guys that wanted Samoa Joe to win in his match versus Swerve Strickland, I know everyone was clamoring for Swerve to win his championship for the first time. I wanted so badly for Joe to have a successful defense. But no. Swerve won and everyone was happy except me. Because, yes, Samoa Joe is one of my guys. In my Mount Rushmore, I believe Samoa Joe might be there. The other guy is arguably Tajiri. So imagine seeing Tajiri going up against guys like Triple H, William Regal, this shorter Asian guy. So yes, Asian representation, you know? Like, oh, Tajiri, oh, he's Japanese, I'm Asian like him. And oh my god, he's kicking the absolute piss out of them. He's spitting green mist at them. Oh, he's amazing. He's a smaller guy in a land of giants, but he's absolutely holding his own. I was like inspired by that, man, because newsflash, I'm a smaller guy myself, man. I am almost always the smaller man in a match, and I proudly wear that with pride, and I give my opponents no face with that. Same, Joe is my guy. Oh, my man. So to see Samoa Joe evolve his game to be like just the coolest mofo whenever no matter what arena he's in. Yeah. Ballistic! Hey! Good morning. Samoa Joe versus Kobashi Kenta is one of my most favorite matches. Yes. I was only in my young adult years that I actually got to watch that match on YouTube. I believe it's free on YouTube. Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi. And that match was awesome. Just them absolutely hammering each other. Insane match. Just such relentless action. Man, how does Samoa Joe have such a fantastic gas tank? I don't get it, man. It's insane. And Kenta Kobashi. Yeah. So that's sort of like my have you considered using the mist in your moveset? I don't know why, but I feel like it suits you. I can see why you say that. I can see why you would say that. But no. I mean, sounds fun. Without saying too much, I know how it works. And if any of you know how it works, don't say it. Don't expose it. That's not the reason why I don't want to do the mist. I just don't feel like it's me. I am the uptown lowlife. Okay? I'm an uptown lad. I'm a refined lad. I enjoy my scotch. I enjoy the finer things of life. But I know that I'm a bit of a lowlife in my confidence, my stature, so I've got this whole paradox going about me. I'm a fancy boy, but I don't feel worthy sometimes, and I reflect that in my wrestling. So yeah, in my early years when it comes to WWE, watching guys like Rey Mysterio, Tajiri, yes, watching Big Show is fun. I love it when Undertaker came out and Kane, because they were the big monsters. But one of the through lines with me really enjoying wrestling was seeing the smaller guys taking it to the bigger guys, because obviously the bigger guys were like the more standard guys, but then you see these smaller scrappy guys like doing so much, jumping all around, kicking people crazy, doing all these fancy schmancy moves. It was awesome to see. Japanese wrestlers equal mist? Not necessarily. Evil Cornelius equals spit wine? Oh. I don't want to overdo it. For instance, you see this riding crop that I have? I bring this out IRL as well. I have used this in a match before, and has it left a mark? Oh, hell yes, it has. So riding crop plus mist. There is such a thing as being over bloated, as overdoing it, overbooking things, so to speak. I'll let the mist thing be for others. And let's just say, yeah, because again, I've been in the same events with Tajiri before, yeah. So I know how it works. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. But let's take, are you into Japanese wrestling in particular? I love me some. I mean, look, I'm Malaysian. Japan's up north. So yeah, my exposure to Japanese wrestling is well and true. Like, I've met Japanese wrestlers before. Awesome. I've met people. I've met people who are based in Japan. Like my wrestling coach is besties with Chris Weiss of 001 Wrestling. I'm not sure if that name rings any bells for you, but it's a big Japanese indie wrestling promotion. I am more familiar with the old guard. The new one's not so much. Understood. The days of Kobashi and Misawa, those were some hugely important times in Japanese wrestling. I totally understand. Is that sort of your era, I suppose? The Four Heavenly Kings era? Let's see. So yeah, that's how so yes and no. Dude, it's fine. I'm openly 34. I'm old for I am on the much older side of the VTubing sphere, to the point where like I do sort of like it's a bit embarrassing to say. I do sort of look out a little bit for some of my fellow younger VTubers and pro wrestlers for the matter. Actually, now that I think about it, a lot of the younger pro wrestlers in my circle mock me endlessly over it. Ugh. It's okay, Forever 18. No, I don't want to be Forever 18. I was a stupid 18-year-old. So stupid. No. I don't wanna. So to those who aren't aware, I am a Malaysian professional wrestler, but I consider myself almost part of the greater Southeast Asian wrestling scene, where pro wrestling has only existed in general for about a decade now in Southeast Asia. Most countries has independent wrestling, not all of it. All of them still very much on the indie scale. Some doing better than others. Some regions more active than others. Some countries do not have wrestling at all, although there might be some developments over the next few years. Apparently. So, and it's all very close knit. Like I speak to people from Vietnam to Thailand to Singapore, especially Singapore, because Malaysia and Singapore are neighboring countries. Like Singapore was a former state of Malaysia, for God's sakes. So like I legit will take a bus to travel to Singapore to wrestle. At one point, I did it like at least 3 times a year. At one point, so that's great. So we're in times where in the earlier years, oh man, we were on our own. We had no one to teach but ourselves at a certain point. So we had to learn through the internet, through watching matches, all that jazz. We're in an era now where we are getting the right mentorship. Like, for example, my mentor right now is Carlo Cannon, an Australian wrestling veteran. If the name Carlo Cannon might be a bit familiar to you, it is because the man is Stormbred. He is Lance Storm's first student when Lance Storm opened his wrestling academy. He is an Australian Filipino who moved to Canada to wanting to learn wrestling under the Heart Dungeon. Didn't really work out. Lance Storm was there, and he is practically now Lance Storm's adopted son in a way. My mentor's wrestling journey is fucking wild. It sounds too kayfabe. It sounds too unbelievable if you were to like put it in kayfabe. Actually, it's hilarious. So he's so he knows damn near everything there is about professional wrestling. And if he doesn't know, he knows people that knows. That sort of a thing. So he's sort of like mentoring a lot of us in my PW right now, and it is so appreciated. So we get to learn what it's really like to run a wrestling promotion, to really be like as a professional wrestler, at least in craft, and maybe even to progress further. Actually, that sort of a thing. We can at least, like, Southeast Asia can boast that we've got one in WWE right now, and his name is Dante Chen of NXT. He recently, he got pummeled by Ethan Page again. But the fact that he's in a high-profile match against such a big name like Ethan Page is fantastic for him. He was in Dante Chen, hilariously enough, was in a Singaporean Kane match versus Lexis King at a certain point. That was hilarious. That was on the news too, actually. That was actually he actually got in the news because of that. It was hilarious. Man. Like, it's gone to a point where, like, we have certain people capable of going further, you know? Like, I'm so proud of a Thai wrestler. Her name is Matcha. So Matcha, but we don't say, we don't say it like matcha or matcha like the green tea. No, apparently the proper pronunciation is matcha. And matcha was in TJPW. Saron, you heard that? So Kit might actually be might be somewhat familiar with Matcha. She recently wrestled against Pom Harajuku, a Thai wrestler. Flew all the way to Tokyo to wrestle against a Japanese wrestler, Pom Harajuku, for a championship match in TJPW. That's awesome. That's awesome. So those that may not sound like too much, but that's a I don't know. That's huge on anyone's resume, you know, on any wrestler's resume to be the wrestler in a high-profile promotion like TJPW. Oh man, TJPW is great, awesome stuff. Very unique promotion. I need to check more of it. I need to check more of it in Wrestle Universe. So yes, I've got a Wrestle Universe membership. It's like, oh man, like so many promotions, so worth. Insanely proud of her, man. Insanely proud of her. She brought it too. German suplexes galore. Yeah. And then yeah, actually no, that's no, talking about Japan is actually pretty good for us as Southeast Asians. I'll explain this relation that Southeast Asian wrestling has with Japan, because it is the closest country that has a genuine pro wrestling industry, right? So a lot of Southeast Asians, we kind of see that as like, no, that's the closest we can get to actually being a full-time wrestler. Like, for example, the only Southeast Asian, like there is actually legitimately a Southeast Asian, like a native Southeast Asian, wrestling in full-time as a wrestler in Japan right now. Her name is Yappy, Yappy, and she is a Joshi Pro wrestler in Ice Ribbon of all places. Ice Ribbon. That's, my God. Does Japan have so many women's wrestling promotion? So yeah, as you can tell, I'm a little bit of a historian about this. Most Malaysian wrestlers aren't really into this as me. I'm sort of like the guy for that, actually. So Yappy is a native Filipino who somehow landed a job in Tokyo and became a pro wrestler there. So she's awesome. I'm not very close with her at all. The one that I want to highlight, however, is Crystal. Okay, so yes, that's the name, Crystal. Usually blue hair. Her moniker is the queen of Filipino wrestling, and it's something that she declared herself initially, but it's something that she has earned, in my personal opinion. IMHO. So she is she initially started off as a ring announcer, but she really threw herself into the wrestling craft, and yes, she has wrestled in places like China, India, Malaysia, Singapore. She has wrestled Japanese talent. She has wrestled American talent. She has wrestled in Japan before, I believe, for Gato Move. She has wrestled Emi Sakura before. Some of you might be familiar with that name, indeed. And she has wrestled in Japan before to huge reception. Like she has actually gotten the ribbon thing. You know where that thing where they announce their name and they throw the ribbons. She's gotten that. There's this famous photo of hers where like she's like looking up at the sky and the ribbons are flying up in her face and you can see her eyes are just filled with stars. Like, yeah, that meant so much to her. That meant so much to her. And yes, so for a lot of us Southeast Asians, Japan is the mecca of wrestling. That's where we go to. Like recently in Singapore, one of the promotions there. Oh, by the way, Singapore is like, even though it's a small island nation, yes, three separate wrestling promotions. It's wild. So one of them is Grapple Max, and they're a little bit more Japanese centric. Their main wrestling consultant is Dick Togo, for God's sakes. And so a few of the Grapple Max guys, including the boss, and boss Gregory, this small group flew to the Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom. How cool is that? You know? Stuff like that. So cool. So cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys know anything about Southeast Asian wrestling? What's your native wrestling scene like? Ciron has shared that he's in part of the country that has Ring of Honor. Gods. Insane. What about you guys though? Yeah, we're all here to share a little bit of wrestling. Indeed. I gotta say that I'm also a bit kind of curious to explore a bit more on the East Asian wrestling side of things. So that means not just Japan. My favorite Joshi is a retired Filipino. Sorry, the wording of that is so it actually made me laugh a little bit because it sounded like this Joshi retired from being a Filipino. Y'all are the ones that are so self-deprecating. Okay. I sort of know there are some Japanese wrestlers with some mixed heritage. Like Archer Kong is famously half African American. You know, and I know some Japanese wrestlers are also a bit mixed. I know the Saito brothers. I believe they have a bit of an American heritage as well. Guess those. Oh, dang it. Who's part of recently retired? Wait. Like retired or recently? Okay, no, retired Filipino. Okay, which Joshi pro wrestler retired as a Filipino? I'm kind of surprised. I don't know this actually. Oh damn! The only one that comes to mind is Hana Kimura, and she's half Indonesian. So not her, unfortunately. Oh man, R.I.P. Hana Kimura. Wait, my favorite. Is she like partly Filipino actually? Wakasagi? Is she part Filipino or like full Filipino based in Japan? Because I've never heard of that before. You would think I would know, but I do not. Oh. Filipino descent. Must say I'm a little surprised. Well, it can't be Yappy. She's still active. Oh. Ooh. Give me a little more. Stardom? Really? Stardom? Wow. Wait, Stardom has a Filipino wrestler, and I don't know, because like I legit will like geek like nerd into this. Stardom. Oh man, I'm not very good with Stardom. I mean, I know the big names like Mayu Iwatani, see, obviously, no, not her. This is a toughie. This is a, oh my goodness, this is a toughie. This is a toughie. Who was in the same faction as Beer Priestley and Piper Niven? Oh wow, this was oh jeez. This was I forgot the name. Damn it. I don't follow. My God, I don't follow Stardom that closely. Hey, I do not. No, I'm sorry. I give up. I do not follow Stardom that close enough for me to speak properly on this. Who is it? It just sounds like I'm gonna like whack myself. All right. No! Oedo Tai! Chris Wolf of Oedo Tai! Right? She was from Oedo Tai. So, under Kimura's faction. When she was with Kagetsu. Damn it! I know about her. I've seen her in one match before, back when she was in Oedo Tai. God, Oedo Tai was like so hot. I forgot. Sorry. I thought you meant someone from like. I thought you meant like. This is gonna sound so bad. I thought you meant like a Filipino born and bred native. I believe Chris Wolf is Filipino American. I believe she's Phil Am. I believe. So yeah, she was part of Stardom in Oedo Tai, which was like one of the hottest factions at the time. Yeah. She is Phil American. Yeah. Chris Wolf. Good shout. So one of your favorites. Yeah. Such a pity because she's so charismatic. But yeah, that's pro wrestling's unforgiving, man. I myself question constantly that if I was in an American, if I was like an American in an active American independent wrestling scene with my injury, for little context, Wakasaki, I have a chronic injury, a spinal chronic injury, yeah. And I live with this on a daily basis. So, you know, one of the reasons why I'm still able to sort of continue on with wrestling is because one, I'm very smart with how I train, and the other is that, well, frankly speaking, I'm not wrestling on a weekly basis. In North America, if you're good enough, you can legitimately wrestle a few times per week, every week, you know. I'm not doing that. I don't know if my body can take that, you know. I don't know if I can survive through the rigors of that. I'll be very, very frank with you, you know. Can I put on a match? Absolutely. I think I'm at the level where if another wrestler from anywhere in the world were to see my match, they can say, I can work a match with him. I can definitely work a match with him. I can see that he knows what he's doing. Oof, I didn't know you had a spinal injury because you're always there for my PW. Oh, you're aware about that I do stuff with my PW? You're aware of my PW, in fact. So yes, unfortunately, I do. Degenerative disc. So not even herniated disc. Not even a herniated disc or something like that. Oh, you're Malaysian. Oh, wow. Sorry, I thought you were Filipino. Wait, we're past Wait, it's almost 1 a.m. You're still awake? I'm awake because I'm catering this this stream partly for North Americans as well. I'm having a little snack right now. I'm having like I'm eating black garlic. Speaking of degenerative, y'all sleep. Yeah, what is sleep? What is sleep, right? Dude. Like one of our, it's better than national pastime for us to have supper, like late night supper. It is a thing. Like it's a miracle that I can still keep fairly trim and resting ready. Like I am low-key really proud of myself that I can develop like wings on my lats. Like, oh, my pull-up game. So yeah, even though I've got a bit of a even though I do have a bit of a degenerative disc, bit of a bad back, still very blessed that I'm still able to put myself through a fitness routine that still keeps me safe, but I can still build muscle. Like I've got I'm pretty confident that I've gained like decent size of my biceps and lats. Oh my god, pull ups. Been out of wrestling loop for years due to adulting, but still try to keep up through clips and news. Quick Google search showed you may have been involved with PWR during 2019. I was involved with PWR during 2019. I believe you're referring to my 5v5 match. I don't believe it's on YouTube, but I was. Am I able to pull up an image somewhere? Here's a question. What's a moment in the ring where your eyes just widen and go, what the fuck? That's not possible. In the ring. You might know about this, Wakasagi. Let's see. Well, you said that's not possible. If you're talking about in person, are you referring to in person or just wrestling in general? Actually, let me try to quickly find like a short form for you in person. Oh, it's a fan. Okay. Okay, I got one. I'll give two answers to this. One as a fan in general, and the other as something I saw in person. So as a fan, it's actually a recent one. It's the match between. It's that lights out match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. A vertebraker on an actual cinder block was absolutely insane. I cannot believe they actually went there. A vertebraker is already a horrific move enough. A vertebraker on a cinder block was me and another fellow wrestler both agreed. Yeah, watching that once is enough. That was incredible. Well, once was absolutely enough. Oh gods. Mind you, that wasn't even the bloodiest match in that pay-per-view. But were we so uncomfortable? Oh my god. Okay, and another thing, I guess so as a wrestler, something that I saw in person, let's see. I guess it's an easy one. It's it's the actual fact that that big name wrestlers are willing to come down to Malaysia in the first place to wrestle. Like, it was an absolute privilege to have Robbie Eagles come to our event, and to find out that Robbie Eagles, who, mind you, I was a gigantic fan of. I was a gigantic fan of in those earlier years, and to hear him being announced that he's coming down to Malaysia to wrestle was unbelievable. I could not believe we had that opportunity. I could not believe a fellow Malaysian, Eman Azman, who's currently based in Melbourne right now, got the chance to wrestle against Robbie Eagles in a fantastic match. So if you guys want to check that match out, go to the MyPW's YouTube channel. It's there. Eman the Kid versus Robbie Eagles. Fantastic match. Fantastic match. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So, it's gonna take me a little while because it's so long ago. Okay. Okay. I do have a photo of me in PWR long ago. Oh, by the way, folks, if you do not mind, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, please do so. I am trying to I'm trying to achieve YouTube partnership. PWR, Sammy Callahan's right? No, not Pro Wrestling Revolver. Philippine Wrestling Revolution. Yeah. Oh, I got a photo. Okay, save this first. 1 second, folks. Come on, mouse, move with me here. No, move with me here. Ooh, no, I should use this. I should use this one. One second, folks. Just getting the right photo for y'all. Okay, so okay, so I got the photo. I basically just copy pasted it for my Instagram account. So my Instagram account is where I've got stuff from my very early years in wrestling. So here it is. So it's not too obvious, but you can see the words there. Philippine Wrestling Revolution. So here's me, all those years ago, still doing my corner headstand double knee drop. Or some call it a pendulum knee drop. Moveset. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those were the days. But, man, the Filipino wrestling has changed so much these days. Beautiful photo, and thank you for sharing. Time sure flies. I wasn't even aware of VTubing during the time. Dude, VTubing was... I too only knew about VTubing during the... I love to call it the pandemic era. Not the PG era, not the ruthless aggression era, the pandemic era. VTubing didn't exist at the time. Or in a very, very specific way, the He's Not I era. When it was just as videos instead, where it was where it was instead of streaming, it was via videos. Yep. Or, as some people might say, annoying artists. Oh god, yeah. I know. Annoying Orange arguably is the first VTuber. But was he a trailblazer in VTubing? I think that can be debatable. Okay, folks. I think we shall end this stream. It was a lovely time. It was a lovely time chatting with you all about all things professional wrestling. Maybe if next time I do this, there will definitely be another time where I'll do a Zatsudan stream all about that's all about wrestling. Maybe I might have something a little bit more structured. Maybe I might have a little Google form where you guys can ask any questions you want. I might have a specific topic, yada 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 yada, all that jazz. Alright, folks. That is about it. For tonight or this morning. If you are able to, folks, please do follow me on my Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, blah, 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 and obviously most important, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you wish to follow me on my Discord server, the description is down below. Right, folks. Cafe Cornelius is now closing shop, but may Cafe Cornelius never close in your hearts. Have a lovely night, Mina.